So Jerry's line, I thought we agreed, no womanhood.
No womanhood.
So hard. So hard. I loved it.
In this episode, I think there's 2 or 3 times where I'm supposed to get emotional, and when I teach acting, I say, you have to think about something that's a genuine thing because we'll see it. Mm-hmm. We know if you're making it up or not, if you're not feeling it inside, I don't know what I was feeling exactly, but it worked. It made me laugh. And I think people say, do you like to do comedy or drama or whatever? It all is real emotions, whether you're doing something that's funny or something that's serious. It's sincere or else it's not.
Well, it's about
good.
finding the truth in anything.
Right. So it just I made myself laugh when I got emotional.
No.
It was funny. I like
and
that.
I feel like what a beautiful thing about you is like you are really in touch with your emotions. So I feel like it's accessible.
I
know, not like for actors, like some days are easier than others, but like I feel like it, it's harder for some people to get to that place.
I go real intense though when I'm talking to the kids, when I'm teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say it, but I'm like, what's something that makes you happy, or say, and they're like, I don't know, this movie, and I'm like, no, you got to go deeper. You got to get,
I know,
it's like,
I do too.
What's intense?
But that's hard because I feel like that's not like a socially. Especially these days, I feel like a lot of stuff can be. It seems to be all or nothing. It's either really surface or super, super deep.
Right. So with that,
so getting them to access that and to link it to a scene is tricky.
Right. It is tricky. But this is what I didn't want to say. I'm like, you got to go real. Got to go real. To the thing that makes you sad. I'm like, what if you think about like your dog dying? And I was, and then one time somebody's like, my dog just died, and I'm like, oh fuck, that's the wrong thing to say.
It's always, I know, it's always, yeah.
But you think of something like that, and it can get you there like that,
I like
if
to
you
use
allow yourself to.
Yes, I like to use a combination of things because I agree. Like if it's not honest or truthful, like it just there's a veneer between you and the audience as an actor.
Do you think of imaginary circumstances and make them real, or are you?
I'm more
thinking about?
I'm more that where I try to do a lot of research with the character and get myself to that place.
Right.
And sometimes, like if I'm hitting a wall, I'll kind of do the substitution of like putting something that I can relate to more into it. But it hits different emotional depths sometimes for me when I put myself in a place I'm not used to. Because I feel like my thing with like the dog dying thing is your brain wants to adapt, it wants to overcome. And so if you use the same memory over and over again, it falls flat and it doesn't hit the same. And I also feel like there's different emotional, I mean, I could talk about this forever and everyone would fall asleep and turn this off, but like, I feel like there's different emotional depths to certain things and different experiences. And like, we're kind of a bottomless well of different like nuanced emotions. So for me, it makes a lot more sense to try to tap into whatever the character's going through. Because otherwise it may not have the same nuance.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love that. I think that's so interesting. And I love that everybody's, plan of action when they're doing it can be different.
But also too, like on the day, like, all the tricks and tips that you use cannot work. And then you have to like go to the bottom of the toolbox,
Yulia was just transcribing and is going to be directing into German this Anne Hathaway movie.
Yeah.
And she has this very long speech. And she's talking and this and that and this and that. And a good minute in, she just kind of like brushes her eye like this. Mm-hmm. And then she starts crying. I'm like, what? Did she fucking put something on her aunt? You know
Maybe.
what I mean?
I know when I was a kid, I was such a perfectionist that the menthol stick to me was like, I failed.
Right. But
there's
the audience doesn't know.
No, but there's also too, like, because I feel like
I've never used a menthol stick, by the way.
To me, it takes you out of it because I feel like you're fighting it, but also too, I acknowledge the fact, like if it's a long day, like, and you're doing a million takes, like you can't physically do that over and over again.
And Anne, I wasn't saying you did it or not. I don't know, if that happened.
She definitely watches this podcast.
I'm going to jump back into the show, but I'm going to say that when I was little, I did a movie that my dad directed called Hot Stuff, and I'm in the movie. My mom is, my brothers, and I play his son, and I'm supposed to be crying, and I was like I cried. Like, you can look
You're
it up.
You're a crier.
I am a crier.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I used to be. It's funny. I didn't cry when I was a kid because I felt, and I put a lot of the pressure on myself. My parents didn't really put it on me, but like I put the pressure on myself to be the kid that had it all together, which I think is where a lot of that like perfectionism came from. And so I didn't cry once I was cognizant of it because, or at least I tried not to, because to me it was a sign of weakness and it was a sign that I didn't have it all together. But then getting older as an actress, like every other freaking thing, she burst into tears. She burst into tears.
But you can do that. You've done
but I had to reteach myself. So I literally used to listen to like Les Mis in the car or like whatever. And I tapped into something where I would, I got to a place where like I would cry at Iams commercials or whatever. But then after the pandemic, like, I don't know if I had to, it's been an interesting balance. I have to say, it's been an interesting balance going from acting and nursing and balancing the two, because with acting, my emotions have to be so at the surface and I have to be so receptive to emotion and empathy and things like that. And with nursing, I have to be empathetic, but like I can't feel that in the moment because I have to keep going.
Yeah.
And so I think after the pandemic, I kind of reverted back to that like protective mechanism of like, it's a sign of weakness. And I don't believe that now, but I think it was just out of necessity that I couldn't break down or I couldn't get upset or I couldn't take that pain in because I had to keep going.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, just kind of, I'm in kind of this weird middle place now, where I'm either like totally numb or like bursting into tears. There's like no in between because I'm still recalibrating that, if you will.
Well, keep recalibrating. That's life.
Yes.
It's all good. Hey, thank you so much for watching this clip of Wizards of Waverly Pod. And for the full episode, go to the Wizards Pod YouTube channel. The link is in the description.
And for exclusive weekly bonus content, join our Patreon now. There's a link in the description for that too. Thanks for watching.
Bye now.